Hi, in this video we are going to talk about temporary uses in LiquidFiles. So temporary uses is a way for you to send secure authenticated messages to external recipients without them having accounts on the LiquidFiles system. So here we can see we're logged on to a LiquidFile system. We're logged on as admin at liquidftest.com, and normally what you would just send an email to joe at external.com, send some test message. In this case is a private message, and so you want this message to be secure, so you enable authentication so that the recipient joe at external.com needs to authenticate in order to access this message. And we can see, if we look here, that there's no other users on this system. So normally you would probably have quite a few users, but in this case we have no other users on this system. So how does this work? So in this case we just send a message to joe at external.com, test subject, test secure message. So how does it work? We enable authentication, and only the specified recipients, which means only Joe, can access this message, and it's a private message. So we hit send. And you'll see me logging out after each message, so we can see what's really going on here. So we're logging out here. And then we go to look at the email. So this tool that we have here is an email tool, a development tool that just helps us capture all email that's being sent from this LiquidFile system. So anything regardless of the recipient, everything just shows up here so we can see what's really going on. And in this case, we can see a private message from admin at liquidftest.com to joe at external.com. So exactly how we expect it to be. And in order to authenticate what happens after this as well, we can have a look at this. So we copy this link. So this is the equivalent of the user clicking on the link, so we can see every step of the way, and we get presented that we need to log on to access this secure message. So this is exactly what we are expecting. We have sent the secure message and we need to authenticate to access this message. Again, looking at the email, the next email that was being sent is a temporary user account. In this case, joe at external.com has been created a temporary user that he can use to authenticate to this LiquidFile system and access this message, and only him will be identified with this temporary user account. So in this case, we have the authentication prompt, and we can authenticate first with joe at external.com and then this password. So let's do that. So copy. And then in the next prompt, we are going to be asked for a password, validate your email, and we enter the password. And we have been given access to the message. And we can now also see, if we look in the email, that another email has appeared, and in this case it's to the LiquidFile, so admin at liquidftest.com. So the user that we were logged on and that sent this message has now been sent a read receipt to tell that joe at external.com has accessed this message, and at these locations, here's the link to the message, here's the message ID, and so on. This is the time when this was accessed. And so that's all well and good. Let's just log out Joe and log in admin again to see what happened in the background. we go to temporary users and we see that Joe at external.com has been created as a temporary user with this temporary password. It was created at this time. The last message time is the same. If Joe gets further messages, then this last sent will be updated but not the create, obviously. And then we can see that this expires in 7 days. So in a week from now, this will expire. So what this means is that if we keep sending messages, so if we send another message to Joe external.com, message 2, more secure messages, private message been sent, we can see that another private message has been sent, but in this case there has been no temporary user account email. So in this case we can still log on to this message. So if we log out here and access this other message here, so we want to access this message instead. So Joe at external.com can still access with this password. And again, go to message 2. So here we see that the last sent has been updated because we sent a new message, and the expiration date has updated as well. So what happens here is that if we go to the configuration, we can see that we now have an expiration, temporary user expiration, which means that if we keep sending Joe at external.com secure messages, he will continue to use the same temporary user account, so he can still continue to log on. If he does not log on to this system for a week, which is a default setting, then this temporary user account will expire, and at this point that temporary user account will no longer work. What this setting means is that we will still keep an expired message for 90 days. And what happens is that if Joe at external.com tries to log on with an expired user account, we still know that it's Joe at user.com, he's external.com, and he should be given access, and we can automatically send a new temporary user account to Joe. This final setting, temporary user resend after, means that we don't want to send a temporary user account email after every single secure message. So we don't want to keep sending this over and over again. So this temporary user resend after, this setting says how often should we send this message. So the default setting is that after 12 hours, so effectively the next day, we'll send another one. So for the rest of today, Joe at external.com will not receive another temporary user account email. And tomorrow, if he gets another secure message, he will be getting that reminder, just to make the system as easy and convenient as possible. Moving on to the pre-delivered temporary user account email setting. So this setting controls if a temporary user account email should be sent instantly when a message is being created or not. And we will show another message. We will make another example to see how this works. And pre-deliver excludes. So what this does is that if, for instance, you have a CMS system and your users BCCing this CMS system to keep a copy of all emails, as an example, then you can add this CMS system here, so CMS at company.com, in order for them not to be giving temporary user account emails, just to avoid sending messages somewhere where it's not needed. In this case, we'll don't do this, but we will remove this setting and see the difference. So going to files, we send to Jane at external.com, test secure subject, 3 secure message to Jane, private message. So the difference now is that we have disabled the send user account emails, and what happens is that everything so far looks the same. We log out the administrator and we look at the emails, and we can see here that Jane has been given a message, and we can also see that Jane has not received a temporary user account email after this. So what we'll do is that we'll access this message, and in this case we don't have any information, so we access as Jane at external.com and get this prompt, validate your emails. So Jane at this point need to look in her email, and at this point she will have received her temporary user account password that Jane can authenticate with. So we verify this, and we can see that Jane has accessed this message, and same as before, we look in the email and we can see the administrator, admin at liquidfiles.com, has sent a read receipt. So the authentication works the same, and it's the procedure that is slightly different, where in the second case then Jane had not received the temporary user account emails instantly after this. So some people prefer one system to the other, and now you have the option of doing either or. Another feature that I want to show is we have here we have a link that identifies. So if we use this link accessing that Jane in this case can use at any point, what happens is that this link will automatically authenticate Jane and will be taken to her inbox. So in her inbox she will see all the emails has been sent to her, and from here she can view the message. And this also works fine from the logon prompt. So Jane at external.com can, with her password authenticate, and will also be taken to her inbox and can view any messages. So there's several options of accessing secure messages and for external users, and none of them have any accounts on this system. So it's it's reasonably secure and as convenient as we can make it. If you want to have more secure authentication, then you will have to create accounts for external users as well. And there's nothing stopping you for instance, adding two-factor authentication to external users if that's what you want to, if your system requires more secure authentication than using these temporary user accounts. So it's all configurable. This is the default. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you soon for more videos on LiquidFiles. Thank you. Bye.